In this movie, I'll show you how to create a new document inside Illustrator. Now, I should say from this point on, I'll be primarily working on the PC. Fortunately, Illustrator is virtually identical across the two platforms, so whether you're working under Windows or on the Mac, you'll be able to follow along. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is maximize Illustrator here on the PC so that I can focus in on this one application. And incidentally, if you'd like to do the same thing on the Mac, that is to say, you'd like to go ahead and hide any background applications, as well as get rid of this bright title bar up here at the top of the screen, then what you want to do is go up to the window menu and choose this command that is exclusive to you Macintosh users. It's not available on the PC at all. It's called Application Frame. Go ahead and choose it, and that will fill the screen with Illustrator's wonderfully dark interface so that you and I have a more similar experience. All right, here I am back on the PC. And to create a new document, what you want to do is go up to the File menu and choose the New command. Or you have that common keyboard shortcut of Control-N here on the PC or Command-N on the Mac. And that's going to bring up the New Document dialog box. Now, you can start things off by creating a temporary name if you want to. And I'm going to do so just by pasting in a name that I've copied in advance. Now, the reason I say this is a temporary name is because the document doesn't really technically have a name until you save it. So you can always override that file name if you want to in the future. Now notice this profile option. You can choose to create a print document or one for the web. You also have this devices option, and if you choose it, then you'll get access to a handful of predefined device sizes here in this size pop-up menu. And these devices may change in the future as Illustrator updates over time. In my case, though, I'm just going to go ahead and switch back to print. Now notice this option right here, number of artboards. In a way, artboards are pages. So for example, if I want to create a 6-page document, I will change that artboard's value to 6. The reason Illustrator refers to its pages as artboards is for two reasons. First of all, they're not linked to any physical size. So you can create letter size or A4 size artboards if you like, or you can make them any size at all. Also, as we'll see in future movies, each of the artboards can be different sizes and orientations. Next, you have the option of specifying how your artboards are laid out. If you're working in a Western country, you presumably want to go with grid by row, but you can just as easily put all of your artboards in a single row or a single column, and you can also change the direction from right to left. Now, I'm going to leave my columns value set to 3, so my 6 artboards are arranged in 2 rows and 3 columns. All right, now notice this units option right there. By default, at least with the US version of the software, the units are set to points, and I'll be discussing what that means in the very next movie. But for the sake of simplicity right now, I'm going to go ahead and switch to inches, and I'm going to dial in some custom width and height values. I'm going to change the width to 6 inches, and then I'll change the height value to 8 inches like so. I can switch that orientation if I like. So for example, if I click on this little horizontal or so-called landscape page, I will swap the width and height values. So now the width value is 8 inches and the height is 6. I don't want that, however, so I'll go ahead and click on this upright or portrait style page. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and change this spacing value right here to 0.5 inches. And what this value does is it sets the amount of space between your artboards, both the vertical space and the horizontal space, incidentally. All right, finally, we have this bleed value. And the purpose of a bleed is to allow you to print all the way to the edge of a page. So what happens when you send a document like this to a commercial printer is that they actually physically trim the page. They cut their big paper into whatever size it is you want. So if you want to print all the way to the edge, you've got to give them a little extra wiggle room in the form of bleed. So for example, let's say I set this first bleed value to 0.25. That is a 1/4 inch. Notice because this chain icon is turned on right here, that changes all 4 of these values in kind. And what that allows me to do is expand the size of my artwork another 1/4 inch all the way around so that the printer can easily cut to the edge of the page without revealing a little bit of a white or paper-colored edge. All right, having set the bleed, all that's left to do is click OK, at which point I will create a new 6-page document as you're seeing right here. And just so you understand what you're seeing on screen, each of these white rectangles is an artboard. The red outlines represent that extra 1/4 inch of bleed all the way around. And then this dark gray area is the pasteboard, where you can put extra objects that you don't need to print. And that is how you create a new, in our case, multi-page document here inside Illustrator.